Welcome back to Can I Get Some Podcast, the podcast focused on everything uh, pop culture, relationship, and politics. Tonight's going to be a good show. I think it is going to be a good show. We got a great panel, a lot of interesting perspectives, and interested to get into it. But first, a couple things I got to do. I got to give my condolences to the family of Mr. P&B Brock. Poor brother, 30 years old, gunned down at a Waffle House at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in LA. And that's crazy. You know something crazy about it, Shannon, is that they back open for business 24 or less than 24 hours after the brother got killed in their dining hall. That's some crazy shit. So that's some crazy stuff that's happened out there. Too bad brother's gone and taken too soon. So my condolences to the family. We've reached a milestone, Shannon. You got to unmute yourself.
Wait, can you hear me?
We reached a milestone.
Okay.
What the milestone is? We've crossed over into the real podcastery of this whole shit. You know how I know? We got our first official hater.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to the hater. Our first official hater. Hi, hater. Somebody reported that I was using other people's songs. You know, I have like the cool little intros that kind of like set the tone for the show. Somebody reported me, and I didn't get a strike, but I got a warning from YouTube saying don't be using other people's shit, copyrighted, what have you. I thought my little channel, how they gonna find out? But there's somebody who's watched our channel and went straight to YouTube and reported it. So I'm gonna have to be a little bit more, do my due diligence when it comes to finding music and stuff like that, stuff that's not copywritten. But otherwise, how was your weekend?
Pretty uneventful. You know, relaxing is always nice. So I also had to work. So, you know.
Same old shit.
Same old shit, different day.
And if you haven't liked on the way to the door, liked and subscribed on the way to the door, please do that. You know, it doesn't cost you anything to like and subscribe. So make sure you do that and check out some of our other shows. And if share it with people if you know, people who you think would be interested in our content. So you probably noticed that Jazz is not with us. I told you last week that she was going to be on vacation right now. She's got her feet 10 toes deep in some sand. We'll give our best to her, and we can't wait to have her back next week. But without further ado, I want to get this show on the road. I want to get these amazing guests here. First of all, I got to give a shout out to the new, I don't know, what's she calling herself? Nene, Gigi, Mima. But you know how people have that cool shit, they come up with these cool names to hide the fact that they just turned into a grandma. I'm going to give it up to our one of our great panelists and our loyal listeners. Give it up for Miss Amy Johnson, Gigi, Nana. I don't know what it is.
It's Nene. Thank you very much.
Nene. Give it up to the Nene. We appreciate you jumping on. Now, there's this brother that I've been on a couple of podcasts with, mainly Fight Club. He's just one of the most pragmatic, practical cats I've ever had a chance to like listen to and kind of interact with. And I thought he could give some real good perspective on this topic. Hopefully he won't be the last time we see him here. I want to give it a shout out to my man, the Devil's Advocate. How you doing there, brother?
What's going on, man?
Y'all in for with this cat. He's going to have a lot of great things to say. I know that for a fact.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me, man.
Nah, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Next, I want to give it up to my man, my mellow, my cuzzo. This cat has been rocking with me since I was knee-eye to a flea-eye. And, you know, he just an all-around dope dude. I'm going to give it up to my cousin, Mr. TJ, out in Las Cruces, New Mexico. How you doing out there in Las Cruces?
Been out here for 3 days. It ain't bad, bro. I might be able to kick it in Las Cruces for a little bit. It ain't bad.
Okay. All right. We shall see. All right, brother. You know I'm gonna come and visit you. See, so you're gonna have to hold me down when I get out there. Next up, we got this woman. She's always comes with the dopeness, the hotness. She's just an amazing person with a great energy. She always brings a special kind of insight to the podcast. So I'm gonna give it up to Miss Maria. How you doing, Maria? You didn't fall asleep on us this time.
No, but I missed a nail.
Oh, man.
I was like, oh.
All right. So now we got special guests in the house. All right. These two ladies host probably one of the most sexually charged, live, just all around sexually expressive and safe spaces that I've had a chance to be a part of. They just put it out there and don't hold nothing back. They're just two very dope women. I mean, their last interview, they have adult film stars. They have people talking about all kinds of non-traditional relationships, and they are super hot. So you're going to enjoy that too. So I want to give it up to the women, the ladies of Creating Anarchy one at a time. First, I want to give it up to Miss China. How you doing, China?
Hi. Hi. Thank you guys for having me today.
All right. And last but not least, I'm going to give it up to the wildest one of the group. She can't be stopped. Miss Ambrosia. How you doing?
An introduction.
How's it going? Well, appreciate you having me. And I said this last time, and I'll say it again. Their show is one you do not want to miss. It's an IG live show that they do every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So you have to check it out. This week, they're going to have adult film star Victoria Banks. So they're going to just ask her anything you would ever want to ask of an adult film star. It's going to be hot.
Can you drop the link in the I'm not kidding.
Yeah, I'll make sure you get it.
Tune in.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
Victoria Banks. I'm not familiar with her.
Well, you might have to check it out.
Who is that?
Exactly. All right. He came a little late, but it's my other homeboy. He's here now. He's always, like I said, he always comes with the dope insights. Give it up to my man, Mr. Diddy. How you doing, Diddy?
What's up, people? What's up, TJ? That's my guy. Hey, Shay,
right.
what's going on?
So this is going to be a good one. When I do this, it means it's going to be a good one. So we are going to be talking about body count. What does body count mean? And first, at the count of three, everybody is going to just shout out their body count. Ready? 1, 2. I'm just kidding. But the funny thing is, the people who had the mouths open about to say something are the people with the low body counts. Everybody else back like I ain't saying this, you know. Everybody was like, nah. But nah, I just saying I just want to kind of make sure that everybody's good to go and comfortable with the topic. We're just gonna start off with body count. When people talk about body count, traditionally they mean a woman's body count. Unfortunately, that's the way society is structured to be more concerned with the amount of men women have slept with instead of the amount of women men have slept with. I want to ask, my pragmatic brother, Mr. Devil's Advocate, why do you think that is? Why do you think that that society is so fixated on a woman's body count as opposed to a men's body count?
All right, that's a good question. First off, how's my volume? We all good?
You're good, DA.
Right.
Good.
Awesome. I would say if I had to sum it up, it would be because women respond differently to high body count than men do. And if you really want to boil it down, I think it's also because women respond differently to trauma. It was kind of a theory I had, but I actually, as you were speaking, I literally just Googled, do women respond differently to trauma? And that led me to PTSD. It said that despite men being more likely to suffer a traumatic event, women still suffer at higher rates of PTSD, which speaks to how you respond to trauma. And then if you look at symptoms of PTSD, one of the many, many, many ones of them is being avoidant, self-destructive behavior, and having difficulty maintaining close relationships. And I think that almost puts it to bed right there. And so the way I see it, it's an unfortunate fact that we have to deal with. And if I'm not a father, but if I was and I had daughters, I would invest more in prevention than, it's men's fault because they objectify women, because there's always going to be men that act crazy, and immorally. So the question is, how do you avoid it? And one of the best ways I think to avoid that trauma and PTSD is help the women that you love keep that count low because of the trauma that inevitably comes with it.
Okay. So you don't see it as just women kind of becoming self-actualizing and just expressing themselves freely and just as opposed to what they had been kind of.
I think it is free expression. Sorry, go ahead and finish. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I know you kind of get what I was about to say.
Yeah. Because women have more freedom than they've ever had in history, and so it is free expression because we live in a day and age where women have more rights and freedoms than they ever have. And I think that for better and for worse, we're going to learn how they act in those conditions. And that's not all to say it's bad. Like, we're seeing women outcompete men in the workforce. We're seeing women outcompete men politically. Like, they band together when it comes to voting and things like that, whereas men are kind of lone wolves by nature. So they're getting beat. And the laws are getting changed to give more freedom to women, so, and again, that's for better and for worse, depending on your religion and your moral philosophies, you're going to have a different opinion on that. So I think I agree with you there as well. It is freedom of expression. And I think there's going to be a lot to learn from, when they look back at America, whatever is going to be the end of us, whether it's war or rot from the inside out, moral decay. It'll be very interesting to see because we have the means to record it now, unlike ancient Rome,
That's what's up. That was a very introspective. I told you he was going to come with some deep shit.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I give a more simplified, less deep answer?
Go ahead, TJ.
All right. So for me, if you think about the way like people talk about sex, so like when men and women have sex, men get the coochie, women. If I'm telling you about somebody I fucked this weekend, I'm like, yo, damn, I got the draws, dog. Typically, a woman is like, hey, I gave him some. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just like the semantics of it. So if you're a woman and you're giving it away to everybody, you know what I mean? Like I think that in itself has a more negative connotation than you as a man going out and getting it.
Yeah, and I think that's historically, I think that's what a lot of people will agree with. Is like, for a woman to go get sex, it's like saying, I went outside and picked up a slightly heavy stone. I mean, once you've done it, it's like they can walk out there and get it. Most women can get it from anybody. It's like, this person with a high metabolism saying, hey, I'm skinny, it's kind of the way it's biologically made. I want to get our guest from Creating Anarchy. So, Ambrosia, what do you think about why do you feel like people give a shit so much about how many partners a woman has had?
I don't really know how to say why, but I will say like the bias standard on it is like bullshit. First of all, women also are like, oh, I got him this weekend. So it's not just y'all are like, oh, I got some. We say I got some too. We say, oh yeah, he's easy. I fucked him. Like we will speak like that about y'all as well. So I think that, like the bias standard, like I said, is bullshit because a man can be like, oh, I fucked 100 women. And it's like, yeah, dap. But then a woman says it and it's like, oh, she's a hoe. Oh, she's for the streets. We don't want her. But a man will still expect a woman to be into him and want to be his wife and want to cater to him after he's had all these women. But then, it's opposite for a woman. And I think that's like fucking crazy. Like, no.
What about you, China?
Okay, so for what TJ said, I had an ex tell me once, he said, men are like keys and women are like locks. If everybody wants the master key, but nobody wants a lock that everybody has the key to. And when he said that, I think that's how most men think. Like you said, you guys think that women are giving and you guys have to go on the hunt. And once you receive it, like this grand thing, like, oh yeah, you know, this is another one on the list. My standards, I feel like everybody should hold themselves to high standards. Sex is fun, sex is cool, but at the end of the day, when you're having sex with people, you are giving yourself to them, your energy, all this shit. So I don't think there should be any bias. I think men or women, things are still being exchanged, and it's the same either way you flip the coin.
Okay. What about you, Amy?
I agree with them. I think it's fucked up and a double standard. Like, I mean, what's the difference? If a guy's out there doing it, why can't a woman?
Okay.
I don't think that it really matters. Like if you're not doing it when you're with somebody.
I got you. Like being unfaithful.
Yeah. Right.
I'm gonna ask you a question. Then why? Go ahead, TJ.
I was gonna say, you know who calls women hoes a lot? Women.
Mm-hmm.
Like women call other women hoes a lot too. Like it's like men, you know. So you rarely hear a man calling another man like a tramp or you know, like that's a women. Y'all be hard on women too when they fuck a lot. So.
Mm-hmm. Because I don't think a dude's gonna be like, it's kind of like I heard a comedian say, I've never heard a dude when he gets there and her toenail polish don't match her nail polish. Oh, fuck this, I'm out. We can't do this. Like, if he knows that you're with somebody else, he probably still gonna fuck. Like, he's not gonna not do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that kind of goes into like a good point of him still fucking. Do you think that he kind of like puts you in a certain box as women that are for fun and women that are for relationships? Do you think women can get caught up in that where it's just like, okay, yeah, she fucked 5 guys I know, but she bad as hell. I'm gonna still smash, but she ain't gonna be my broad. You know, that's one of the things. You think that is that a concern of women, or do you feel like women are just kind of like doing their thing? So I want Maria to answer that one. You ain't even listening.
She's worried about her nail.
I'm looking at my nails.
Yeah. Forget that damn nail.
So the question is, all right, what do you think about the whole thing? I'm just going to let you answer the question you probably heard. What do you think about the whole double standard when it comes to society being more concerned about a woman's body count than they are of a man's body count?
You worry about your coochie, I worry about mine. Don't worry about
I don't have a coochie. Well, my coochie sleep in the other room.
Cup. That's in my cup, okay? I'm the one. Right. Are you buying it? You're not buying it. Are you providing the condoms? No, you're not. I think that we all need a body count for the reason that you don't want to teach a woman how to do certain things because then you're going to be complaining. Oh my gosh, she doesn't know how to do this. She doesn't know how to do that. She needs to know what to do. Same goes with a guy. Some guys, they have a great package, but all they do is this. They look like fucking mermaids. So they need a body count to know what the fuck they're doing. And that's just how it is. And people talk, oh, the woman, she she's a hoe, whatever. She sleeps with people. Duh, we're fucking humans. We want to reproduce, but we just want to have fun. If you want to play the field, what I always tell my friends, if you want to play the field, bitch, go out there. Just whenever you settle down with someone, settle down and make sure that you commit to that one person. You can't be playing the field and then be like part of a team and shit and have a boyfriend on the side. It doesn't work like that. So when it comes to women's body count, mind your own damn business. It's not your body. It's not your coochie. Worry about your own coochie.
It's funny because it's like you you just kind of recreated that scene from 40-year-old version when he was talking about, okay, yeah, I think I'm ready to smash. Like, no. You need to go knock out a couple of 20, 30 just random bitches before you start fucking with the woman you like, because she ain't gonna fuck with you if you ain't got no skills. Shannon.
No,
Go ahead, Ambrosia.
I was talking to one of, like, to touch on what you just said, like I was talking to one of my coworkers a while ago, and she's young. She's like, I think 23, and she's been with her boyfriend for like 6 years. So she's like, I just feel so tied down and he wants to get married, but I feel like I didn't have a hoe phase. So she regrets not sleeping around prior to settling down, even though she's in love with him and that's what she wants to be with. She regrets not experiencing things prior to that. And I feel that like 100%.
But do you think that's going to be, how would that be beneficial in a relationship? This dude is
I
like.
I can feel that too.
Hold on, this dude.
This dude is like, I'm ready to marry you, make you my wife, give you the one thing that means the most to me, my last name and potentially my children, and you feeling like you ain't got enough dick in your life. How does that benefit me as the man that's trying to settle down with you?
It's not about benefiting you though. Like, think about it. You've never been with anyone else except this one other person. Like, and now you're trying to, this one life that you get, give it to just this one person forever. You've never experienced anyone else. Like, that's wild. Like, that's crazy. And no, I don't think anyone should do that. Exact experience. It's what if this isn't what you're like, what if this isn't what you're into for real? What if you meet someone else that you connect with harder, but you've never given them the chance because you just settled down with the first person that's like, I love you, I want to marry you, I want your kids, and now we're together all these years from being children, you know, into adulthood. Like, she definitely should go have her hoe phase, and I gave her that advice.
She could be in the choke, getting choked, and this man don't choke her, you know? Like, how she know? You know? Like, Shannon, I want to hear what you had to say on the subject. Why should we give a fuck about women's body count? Or should we?
I don't think we should care, but I think one of the reasons why so many men care is anatomy. So there's a misconception about the vagina. Men tend to think that the more dicks, the looser, the wider. There's no grip. They just don't understand how a vagina works. A vagina can literally push out a football, a watermelon, and then snap the fuck back. So I think that misconception about anatomy alone is what kind of turns some men off. They feel like, oh, you know, she's not going to be, it's not going to be good or whatever. The other thing, I think women, when you're a virgin as a woman, you're considered pure. And I think that most men, they just want to believe that their woman or the woman that they are interested in is pure. And, you know, the less sex she's had in her life, the more pure she is. I've even heard guys say to me, like, I want a virgin. I want a virgin because then that way I can literally mold her pussy to my dick. Mind you, a couple of men that I've heard say this were on the smaller side. No disrespect to my small guys out there. And I'm just thinking the whole time, well, I see why, but at the end of the day,
Shannon, was this you? Where is it? Fuck is it?
Ooh.
Hey, Shannon, I'm gonna just say this, and Dave knows who I'm talking about. So I had sex with a virgin once. Never.
Oh, God.
Worst sex ever. I never want to have. And this was back like when I was like 19, but never want to have sex with a virgin again. It's like the worst shit ever.
You don't know if you about to get some or you about to get a rape call. You like, fuck this. I'm out here.
Terrible. Hey, Maria, I do want to address something you said where you were like, you don't want to necessarily teach people. I disagree with that a little bit. Like, and again, depending on what we're trying to be, but like, I kind of like when I got to teach a woman to suck dick a little bit. Because if you too good at that, I'm just like, man, you got a lot of practice with that shit. Like, I don't know.
And you know what? I'm the exact opposite. She hella good. I'll be like, hey, if we ever bump into that nigga, I'll buy that nigga a drink. Because that nigga, I get to enjoy all that shit. It's like, that's the nigga who had me looking underneath the balls. I'm like, nigga, get over here and get yourself a drink.
Were you there on Fight Club when I was talking about that?
Yeah, like, I know I was.
How there's good and it's nice, but then there's so good that you raise an eyebrow. Like she just devours your shit. No tears, no smeared makeup, just like another day. See, he knows it.
It's Tuesday.
Yeah, literally. And like into, I think it was Shan's point. Like, if you know you're an average guy, then so be it. Like, I had a friend. Oh man, I'm not gonna say any names, but like, I had a friend that told me his girl.
You don't know that nigga.
I had a friend that told me his girl could deep throat, and I was like, that's nice. You know, we were just locker room talk, whatever. I wouldn't have expected that because this was like a sub 5 foot little Asian girl, but he's like, he's a career powerhouse, but he's like a 5'6" Asian dude, headhunter. But yeah, long story short, I found him out later, and we'll just say that his girl can't deep throat. It's just and so like yeah, it was a sad story, but yeah, there's a good beyond a certain point where it's just like you raise an eyebrow, and hey, don't get me wrong, you're good, no matter who you are, you're gonna enjoy it in the moment, but there's always that thought in the back of your head, like I don't know. I'm trying to think of a male equivalent. Like what would raise a flag to a woman in the same way, where as if you were a guy that just
nothing, because the expectation is for
exactly.
dudes to have some proficiency with every part of the woman's body. You got to know the dude's supposed to know their way about in the box. So women ain't never screaming, "I want a virgin." If a woman is screaming, "I want a virgin," it's on some ego shit. It's on some like, I want to be remembered as the first pussy that ever got, and he'll never forget me for the rest of my life. That's on some like some head shit, as opposed to
I like to get philosophical. So like
I know
now
you do.
I'm thinking outside of the box. So like that could be like a guy always paying in cash or something like that. Like because men like what chastity or whatever, purity or whatever you want to call it, inexperience. Kind of like women like financial stability. So I feel like if there's a hint that a guy like doesn't have a good credit score, he just doesn't have it together, something's not adding up about what he says his day job is, then maybe that might be an equivalency. Because men like, chastity, like women like financial stability. You're not going to see men that go for women based on, finance, unless they're broke.
Yeah.
So
all right. I want to get Diddy in here, my man Diddy. I want to hear. Let me get Diddy in here real quick. Go ahead. I want to see your point of view.
Body count, man. I'm not. Look, we grown. We all over on this 25 years. I'm not asking no one her body count. I'm not one that's gonna hold a woman to the fire. What I will say is this: it's circumstantial, Dang. Like a woman could be a hoe in her own state, but if she in another state with me and no one knows, I'm with it. It is what it is. I'm not going to do a background check. So I think I think that it's all about who knows your chick was a hoe. You know what I'm saying? If she's a hoe and no one knows, it is what it is. Like, look, you got grandparents that had 8 kids. You think it just happened overnight? Come on, man. They used to call them worldly women back in the day. So let's be honest, like this has been around for eons. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not here to judge no one's sexual career. And I mean, you know what time it is when you get in the bedroom. Like you said, man, if you got a woman that's about to give you head and she hits you with you like, oh shit, it's about to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, seriously.
Some off their wrist and hit you with oh shit, here we go. You know what I mean? So you ain't, and men know if you've been with a woman before and she come back and she got some new tricks, she's like, damn, somebody got your ass. Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to ask these questions. You don't just get this on the first go round. This is experience. This is a well refined product here. You know what I'm saying? You got to ask these questions.
Go ahead, Shannon. I know you want to say something.
What I want men to know is if you get with a woman that's very, very good at sex and very good at giving head, it doesn't necessarily mean that she does it a lot or that she's done it with a lot of men. It means that she just enjoys doing it. I mean, I can speak for myself. I literally enjoy giving head to my man. It turns me on. It drives me nuts to know that he is being satisfied. And same thing goes for, having sex. I mean, it just turns me on to know that he is so into it and that I'm really, really good at it. So people open-minded about that. Yeah. And
just shout out Shannon real quick. Can we give Shannon a round? Yeah. Appreciate you, Shannon. Appreciate you.
Yeah, that's I think. And then, if you pay attention to your partner, whoever you're with, whether it's a relationship or not, if you just pay attention to how they sound, how they move, how relaxed they are, you will become good at whatever it is you're doing.
Okay. That's what's up. I want to give a shout out to my man Sharon. He's in the chat showing some love. What's up, Sharon? Our fellow Fight Club brethren. What's up? We're looking forward to what you got to say. Keeping it moving. All right.
Oh, great.
So in there, for those who not know, there's a thing called the manosphere. Red pill, blue pill. So they use a lot of terms to kind of as a justification for kind of getting that going bad on women who have high body counts. They use things like pair bonding, and they use things as making sure verifying paternity to make sure, because you know, women who tend to have a high body count tend to have harder times pairing with a partner and formulating and maintaining long-term relationships. There are studies that say that. I actually got pulled up something I want to show to bring to the class. All right, so the new research of the University of Utah provides insight into the recent social and behavior shifts. Although the study found that women who had more than 10 sexual partners prior to marriage did show an increase in divorce rates, people who had only 2 partners did too. Both groups had higher rates of divorce. The lowest was found among those who between 3 and 9 premarital partners. So basically saying, you know, there's no direct yes. If you had 10 partners, there's studies that show that you are likely, you have a higher risk of divorce, but they said the same thing goes if you only had 2 partners, you know. And on average, on average, women have lifetime average, you know, but nobody on this panel, I'm sure, but lifetime average, women have about 4 sexual partners throughout their whole lifetime. Men have about 7 on average. And people are thinking, how is that so low? Because there's a lot of motherfuckers, women and men, who ain't getting none. No, like I said, nobody in this group, but there's a lot of motherfuckers out there who's sitting back with dry balls. And
I was gonna say, where they do that at?
You know, there's a whole lot out there. So
no, I know that to be true, because it seems like every apartment that I've ever lived in, I hear no one fucking except for me. And I'd be like, like I'm always feeling like I know when I see my neighbors, that little grin is like, yeah, girl, you know, but that's true.
I mean, you know what? I ain't never paid attention to that. It's like, do you get the people around you fucking? Let me get a little bit more like philosophical with it, or not philosophical. Let me bring up one of the cats. There's certain sources that people in the manosphere, red pill community cite as a source for some of the things that they say. They do Kevin Samuels. They do who's the other one that they cite a lot as far as the source? But one of them is Rollo Tomasi. He's a cat who has a podcast called The Rational Male. I've watched a couple of times. It's all right. He has some, just like all them cats, they have good points and bad points. So I'm gonna play this quick clip. It's about 2.5 minutes long of why he's kind of breaking down why biologically it kind of fucks with a relationship for a woman to have a high body count. Let me add him up here. All right, so let me go ahead.
You got 2 chicks. You got one girl who is like pre-sexual revolution, and you got one that's post-sexual revolution. So on either side, like 1965, right? So you got the pre-sexual revolution girl is like worried about social stigmas that exist because of latent functions, is like men want to know that the kid is theirs, right? The church wants to know that. The marriage contract wants to know that. Families want to know that. And if you have a baby out of wedlock, you either, you have it and you give it to grandma and grandpa, or else you give it up for adoption. That they put you away and then you have the kid, and then that's what happens, right? Because there's societal functional frameworks that promoted that. Now, post-sexual revolution doesn't matter, man. It is, you know, you've got hormonal birth control, and now, oh wow, lo and behold, we have on-demand, safe, effective abortion, if that's the case, or the morning after pill or whatever. And even if you decide to have the kid, you're already taken care of by the state, by the guy with child support, by the stepdaddy who comes in and rides into the rescue. There's all kinds. So why wouldn't women be more promiscuous in a post-sexual revolution era than a pre-sexual revolution era? Now, biologically, evolutionarily, firmware-wise, are those 2 women the same? Yeah, they are. They could be exactly the same girl. They're just on either side of 1965. But the girl who's more promiscuous, or the girl that we see on TikTok who's complaining about how guys can bang and I can't, who still thinks it's all about blank slate equalism and social constructionism, That girl, she's probably more promiscuous because she's raised over the course of the last 4 generations to say, don't worry about it. It's all good. You should be able to fuck as much as guys do. You're the man you want to marry anyways. And you know what those men are? They go and they fuck whoever they want to fuck because they're high value, apex fallacy men. They're at the top of the heap, and those are the only guys that'll do it. And those guys who are at the top of that pyramid that you want to fuck, the 20%ers, the highest of the 20%ers, the 4.5% that you'll actually message on Instagram, those guys, they're fucking left and right, man. They won't commit to anybody. They believe like Fresh and Fit do. They think that they should be able to be entitled to many wives or to have a girlfriend or have a main and to be able to fuck whoever they want to. And that's what they're doing. So you know what, girl? You're just as good as they are. You are entitled to do exactly the same thing that the man you would want to get with is doing already, because you're the same. Blank slate equals. You are the man you want to marry, and the man you want to marry is doing that. So that's okay. Go for it.
All right. So what do people think about that? I'm going to get you in here, TJ. What do you think about what my man Rollo Tomasi just said?
Hey, so my bad. Like, it was super choppy for me. I could barely hear what he was saying. Like, it was, I heard like every other word.
Oh, my bad. All right. So did everybody else, was it cool for everybody else?
Yeah, I heard it.
All right. So I'll go to DA. What do you think about it? What he was saying?
It makes a lot of sense. I get into so like I've worked in data analytics, and I'm like a tech infrastructure engineer. So I sift through numbers a lot, and I've seen the numbers behind what he's saying, and it is pretty true. You know, like it's not like there was just a sudden plummet in morality by the standards of the 1950s, but just a lot more women having more sex. There's the removal of shame. There's easy access to abortion. There's easy access to birth control. You pretty much took away all the negative repercussions of it, not just physical, like the effect pregnancy has on a woman's body and the risk to her life, but also social, because there used to be a huge shaming element, not just socially, but even religiously. So I wouldn't knock modern women for behaving the way they do because there's no more constraints. I would just caution them as to, yes, you can with less consequences, but what are the consequences that remain? Because there's especially remove the short-term consequences of sex, right? But if there were not any, if you're, say you have 200 partners, you're 38 years old, you're still in good shape, you still look good, you might have 2 baby daddies, you should have just as much of a chance at getting a man, or maybe even better because you're more experienced, than a young, hot 22-year-old. And we know that that's not true. So, we can take an eyes wide shut at looking at it, like we should be able to do whatever we want with no consequences, or we can actually look at what the data tells us. And that's exactly what Rollo said, It's women are acting more promiscuously, and they're not less moral than the women of the past. There's just less shame and more access to healthcare and such.
China, what do you think about that? Do you think that if it was kind of there was these stigmas attached to it, do you think women would still be sexually as active as they are, or you think that's because in modern time it's been kind of lifted, the stigmas and the significant consequences? Because like he said, you can eliminate a lot of the consequences of having a baby out of wedlock. Do you think if those were still evident, women would still be trying to express themselves sexually?
Okay, so if I go back to the video that you played, I'm trying to figure out when this woman said that she even wanted to marry him. What if she just wanted the same thing he wanted, to fuck? Men, if you think about it, men today do not commit the same way they did before 1965. We don't see, and this goes back to the whole hookup culture. Nobody is dating for a relationship. So are women just supposed to wait around for a man to sweep them up off their feet and marry them and want these things? Because men are not looking for that anymore. Men are not looking for committed relationships, or if they are, it's one-sided commitment. So why can't women have just as much fun? okay, healthcare is more accessible, but there's preventative care too. So I don't even think like that has so much as plays so much as a role. I think that people aren't taking relationships serious. So it's if whatever you could do, we could do better. So
I
that's how I
think
feel about it.
that's a great point. I just wanted to address before you moved on. You said that my only thing is that the deal is different. It's not that men nowadays all of a sudden stopped wanting marriage and relationships. Like every man will always want to build a legacy. And that's what I see a future family as, like a chance to build a legacy and help somebody live a better life than you did, right? But on average, back in those days when there were things like shame and fathers present in the household, and they would help direct you towards men that would be better husbands rather than better fucks, to be completely blunt. Like when left to women's own devices, they're not going to make as good of long-term decisions compared to a world where husbands and fathers and brothers were more involved in mate selection and in an environment with shame. So that's the only caveat I would add. You made some good points there. But I would say that, we want to build a legacy just as much as the men of the past. The deal is just changed.
Yeah, but for legacy, what do you mean? Have some babies and carry your last name? Or because I don't see, okay, I have been in a committed relationship for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of my friends date. I've seen a lot of my friends be promiscuous. I've seen some of my friends wait and be taken advantage of. I have seen my 22-year-old friend with no kids be played around with the same way that my 32-year-old friend with 2-3 different baby daddies. The same thing. The dating pool is, nobody is dating for marriage anymore. So it's like I said, that's just like how I feel. Like if we were really dating to build something, I don't think people would want to be as promiscuous as they are. But at the end of the day, if you're wasting my time, if we're not building something here, why would I just commit myself to you when I can have fun? And this is coming from somebody who is not, I'm not promiscuous. I don't enjoy having numerous sex partners. I just see why people do it. I personally don't do it because I'm not socially equipped for that type of connection with numerous people. But if you want to do what you want to do it. Doesn't matter if you have a dick or a vagina.
Yeah.
Do what you do.
That's a great question. If you guys and someone else wants to chime in, I have a response to that as well, but I'm going to jot it down. So we're not just going back and forth here.
So, yeah, Shine, I want to ask you a question.
I have a question out of curiosity. Go ahead.
Go ahead, TJ.
I kind of got a question for like the women in the room. Basically, like, is there a number that's too high for y'all? Like, if a dude was like, "Yeah, I'd have been with 50 chicks, 75, 100," is there a number that for y'all like, "Yeah, I'm not messing with that"?
Go ahead, Amy. Amy, like she got something to say.
I'm just trying to understand. Like, I mean, I'm married, so like I'm not out in the game or dating, but like, is that a question people ask? Like, I never asked when I was dating my husband. Like, excuse me, I was only concerned about what he was doing when he was with me. He didn't ask me.
I think like for me, those type of questions came about when I was like a teenager or my early teens. Like, oh, what's your body count? Now I don't even want to ask because of the response I would get.
So the way I would break it down is when I didn't understand like a concept or a trend, I had the reason why I majored in economics in college was because I had a really good econ teacher, and he was really good at breaking down why things were the way they were. And so like if you think someone sounds stupid for preferring a girl with 5 partners over 10, because that's not an end all be all, you guys are all right? What my teacher would do is like, if we couldn't understand the effect of raising the minimum wage from $18 to $25 would be, he'd be like, okay, well, what would people do if the minimum wage was $5? Okay, what would people do if the minimum wage was, and he'd increment it up to $40? That's when you would be able to see more obviously the things that you couldn't see when you were comparing 18 to 25 or to 18 to 21. So in turn, what would the difference be between, you know, a 22-year-old with one partner versus considering her to be your wife versus considering a 22-year-old with 75 sexual partners? And trust me, there are plenty of them in college. So that's going to make it more obvious. And again, there are plenty, again, because everyone fights me with the exceptions to the rules. Well, I know a friend that fucked 100 guys by age 18 and she's married. Like, okay, well, how long has she been married? How long is it going to last? Like, we're not talking about exceptions to the rule, just general trends. Like, what would you tell your son to maximize his odds of finding a good wife one day?
According to Andrew Tate, he prefers a girl that's younger, that has less partners, because she's more moldable and whatever, malleable to whatever his beliefs are, than to picking somebody who's older with more partners, with more heartbreaks, with more issues, with more trust issues, according to Andrew Tate. Fuck that guy though. But I will tell the truth. The only way I would be like, okay, your body count like matters, it would be like if my homegirls are like, I fucked them. And then somebody else that's in my circle is like, I fucked them. And I'm like, no, this is nasty. Like, this is gross. Like, if all the girls that I know, like, know something about him or have been with him, that's when I'm like,
that's a new level of awkward right there. I agree with you. By the way, you have a beautiful dog. Is that Saint Bernard?
It's a pit.
The dog?
It's a pit? Oh, okay.
This dog is a pit bull.
Okay, I saw the way its face came in at shoulder level. I'm like, okay, he's just standing next to you, and his face. He must have been up on his hind legs, because I've lived with the fate of Saint Bernard before, and they were huge.
I would ask you something, Maria. Like, going back to what you were saying, like a dude, but would you still just be like, okay, would you treat him how some dudes treat women and be like, okay, yeah, he's just for fun. All my girls fucked him, so y'all could get Kiki and be like, yeah, you know, we fucked him. He eat your pussy. Yeah, he ate my pussy. You know, that kind of shit. You know?
No, don't no. So okay, so check this out. I live in San Antonio, Texas, and this town is just crowded with STDs. Like, it has the highest rates of STDs in Texas, and it's fucking crazy. And I understand why, because when you have a lot of strip clubs here, right? I used to work in some of them, and most of the girls there were DTF. And so it would just spread, and guys would make fun of it. They were like, oh yeah, you know, I fucked this chick and she caught this. And I was just like, ew, you guys are fucking gross. So first of all, like, that's when I was like, hell no, like, we got to be careful out here, because these motherfuckers don't care. And they don't care about the body count. So that was one of the reasons. Another reason was because when I started like dating in this city, I'm from Laredo, I started dating in the city, I realized how much sex was so liberate and so free for everyone, that it was very like easy to like, hey, yeah, I know her, I fucked her here, and oh, my homegirl, you know. And it was just like, yeah, like, you guys, like, everybody in San Antonio knows you, like, I don't want to be part of that, you know. So it was
so
like, don't touch me.
Let me give a quick shout out to the Gray Pill podcast, my boy AB. Appreciate you showing some love. I want to ask, Broja just jumped off. I was going to ask her a question, unless you just turned okay.
I was going to respond just to one.
Go ahead.
You made. It was from my experience, I think what he was getting at, because the gentleman you mentioned, he's a very controversial figure. He's just banned off most social media platforms. But he's explained that to mean that, like, older women tend to be more set in their ways, and that can easily be reversed on men. Older men are more set in their ways. It just comes with more life experience, right? And so if you want to be the leader in your relationship, then you probably want somebody who's more coachable and more open-minded. Like, there are a lot of women like men who can mentor them. Like, say they like messing around, they're starting, you know, they want to learn, they want a guy that can help them edit audio and video or something like that, or exceed in their career in finance. Like, women just tend to prefer older men and men who are more competent. And so they end up with men who are older than them. And I think the flip side to that is men prefer women who are more coachable and willing to get on their program, unless they want to lead their relationship and they want the men to kind of follow. But from my experience, well, from what I've seen, that doesn't always work too well in the long run.
Hey, Broja, I want to ask you a question. Like, I heard this like on one show when I was doing the research on this, and it kind of was like, I want to ask the women that. After Broja answers, any of you women can ask. It seems like women get a lot more it fucks with him more about who the dude has fucked, not how many. Like a man can fuck 10 randos, but he fucked one broad either they know or they consider a busted ass bitch and they don't want to fuck with him no more. Do you think is that a true statement? If you had, I know your situation, you're not out in the world like that too. But if it was like, he fucked 20 women I don't know, but that bitch, I can't fuck with him. Is that a true statement?
I mean, personally, for me, I think that if it's like a bitch that's out there and she's nasty, I don't want to touch you if you touch her. But I don't necessarily be like, oh, if you mess with this girl and that girl, unless it's like my friends, like I'm not going. So if I want you, like I want you, you know what I'm saying? But I think that there's a difference between a hoe, like y'all been saying a lot, like, and then a woman with a high body count. So I think that two women can have the same body count and it be high, but this is a hoe because of how she carries herself and how she is fucking and how often and who. And then there's a woman who is just single and she's dating and she happens to be having sex with these people. But like a hoe to me is like a girl who's like, all right, I fucked him this morning and I'm fucking him tonight and I'm gonna fuck his brother tomorrow and I don't care. And then I'm letting these ones run a train on me. And like, like I feel like that's a hoe, but a woman with a high body count, you could just be a woman who is, free and just, wants to date and do your thing. You're not ready to settle down. So if you fucking with a hoe and then you want to fuck with me, I'm kind of like, come on, where's your standards? But if I don't know, I don't really like hold people to that so much.
You just brought up nasty. You just brought up a good segue into this one clip that's been going around and going viral about Brittany Renner on this one show talking about body count and stuff like that. And it was like she kind of for the first time got kind of like, I think she was drunk too, so it was because she kind of got like shut down. So I'm gonna play it and then I want to get y'all take on it once I'm done with it. All right, get into it.
Lying to yourself. Like, oh, I can't have sex without being emotionally tied. Dude, I can you and literally not think about you the next day. Stop giving yourself that much credit.
But no, hold on. Let go. Why can you do that? Why?
The same reason you guys can, because I'm not in tune with myself. That's why.
Most women don't behave that way. So when a woman does, let me finish. When a woman does, and she's even though a man can and he's it's different for you than it is for me. Because emotionally, those women, we want a woman that can emotionally bond with us, not one that's been who can't later on. So it's different.
Let me say this.
They are more likely to leave you, according to psychology studies. A woman with more than 10 bodies has a higher rate of divorce with a man, according to psychologist.com.
All right. So that's been making its rounds. I want to ask.
Can you just say psychologist.com?
Yeah, I know. I think he got that all wrong. He got that mixed up. I think he meant like psychology or psychology today. Diddy, I want your take on it. I want your take on it, Diddy.
Man, listen. This is a topic that is just like it's so much shaming involved with it, man. Sexuality is sexuality. I'm not a judgmental person, man. I don't agree with that. Like, look, man, there's some savage women out here that'll do you greasy and won't talk to your ass the next moment. And I believe it. So, I think to China's point, she talked about people not dating, for a purpose, comparing us to the men from maybe the 20th century to the 21st century. Well, we have to look at other things too, man. One factor is accessibility. It's major. You know what I mean? Like in your pocket, cheating is at an all-time high. You know what I'm saying? Because the fact that there's so much accessibility. These men had access to their city, probably couldn't travel across too far because travel wasn't that great. But now you got the information highway in your pocket. We have access to the world. You know what I'm saying? So cheating is very hard to settle down because a lot of people always, have so many options and whatnot. But with this body count situation, bro, I just feel like when you get to a certain age, it's almost immature to even ask those type of questions. I would ask you about your sexual behavior more so than your body count to see what my risk factor is as far as I want to be involved with the behaviors that you actually getting involved with, but holding you accountable to what you did in the past, pre-me. I don't have time to judge anybody like that because I don't have a rock to throw.
Hey, I just want to, I just want to shout, Mr. West is in the building. Mr. West, we gotta give a shout out to some love to Mr. West. Her grandbaby is in the building.
Oh, we're talking about a baby.
Oh, Mr. West is in the building. What's up, West?
Thank you.
Little man, seriously, I'm glad I'm fixed. I'd be thinking I want to have another kid. For real. I'd be like, Amber, get in here. Hope you're ready to carry. Nah.
You look so proud.
Happy
You're so
anniversary.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
yes.
Appreciate it.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah. Seriously. You know, I must love this show because instead of being in there and knocking out some Mario coins, I'm in here talking to y'all motherfuckers. So I must be I must really love doing this show.
You gonna pay for that shit tomorrow?
Nah, we good. Which cause? So I just want to ask, you know, the women out there, looks like Maria had something. Is any of that ringing true with you? Like what he said, or surprisingly what Brittany said about the reason she's detached from like emotional sex is because she's not in tune with herself. Do you think that's something that's pretty common through women and what that allows women to be a lot more sexually promiscuous, or do you think that's not a factor?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Listen,
You
when
didn't
I was
listen.
a player, back when I was a player, I used to do guys like Diddy said. I used to do them dirty, not like I would just like fuck them and stuff, right? But okay, so check this out. When I would go out on a date with a guy, and my friends were like, yeah, he's cool, whatever. Because I would do my research. I was like, I want to know who the fuck this guy is. I just moved into the city. Like, I want to know who this guy is. And so they were like, yeah, he's cool and everything, but he's the type that like he won't call you. He would just get what he wants, and he's a player. So I was like, okay, cool. So take me out to dinner. I'll get mine, and I'll walk out the door. And they were like, really? You're gonna leave me with blue balls? I was like, I gotta go. I gotta go. And so they were like, damn, this bitch. But I was just not in tune with myself. Like she said, I was just an asshole, and I was trying to get back at men because I had some unsolved trauma with the way that men worked because I was a stripper. And so I just thought all men were shit. And so the way that I took out my anger, I would just go and play men too. And so it was kind of like giving them a taste of their own fucking medicine. But then I look back, and it makes me want to text them and say, hey, you know what? I repented. I'm a believer. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I left you with dry balls. You know,
like that made me feel good at the time. It was like, I got what I wanted because I don't know. I just felt like they always got what they wanted. So in order for me to just, I don't know, I was not in tune with myself. I was being an ass for them. And if you're watching this, I'm fucking sorry.
DA, I want to let Shannon jump in. DA, let me let Shannon jump in here. Go ahead, Shannon. I want to hear your take on it. Do you think, like the question was, do you think, is there something that's disconnected from like a woman is disconnected from their emotional self that allows them to have like just sport fuck and to where it may end up with a high body count?
I mean, listen, sex is fun. It feels good. It's a good way to release. And this is very true for women as well. And I just feel like, growing up as girls, we weren't taught that. We didn't really receive that message. Like it was stated earlier, like sex has always been viewed as something that we give, something that they have to earn. When actually in actuality, it's an exchange. And I don't feel like it's something that has to be or should be earned because it is fun. It does feel good. Like as women, we can come over and over and over and over and over again. And there's different ways that we can come. It even feels good if we don't come. You know what I'm saying? So why do you need an emotional attachment to enjoy that? It's one of life's greatest pleasures. And fortunately, my father taught that to me and my sister. Like sex is just as good for you as it is for him. So if you want to go through life making men feel like, oh, you have to be attached or, we need to be in love or you need to earn it, you're probably going to miss out. And to respond to what Devil's Advocate was saying earlier, I think the difference between a hot girl in her 20s that's been with one guy versus a hot girl in her 20s that's been with 70 guys. Eventually, the hot girl in her 20s has been with 70 guys. Eventually, I feel like that kind of relationship will be able to mature past just the physical. Whereas the girl that's only been with one guy, eventually she's going to feel like, especially in today's world, whereas Diddy pointed out, there's just so much access. The girl that's been with one guy, eventually she's going to get curious. She's going to get curious. Whether it's physically, whether it's, in the DMs or whatever, she's probably going to get curious and realize that maybe, just maybe, she missed out on something.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the question guys have to ask themselves is where do you want to put all your marbles? Because a lot of women
But you don't have to put all of your marbles anywhere. That's
when you marry, you do. I was if you had the point I was going to make is who are you going to settle down with, and that is kind of putting all your marbles. Like, you can't be spread thin among many women when you're married.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not spread thin, but you have marriages where they both agree to have multiple partners and they have very healthy relationships.
But that's common. That's the outlier. That's anecdotal. It's not, but it's most common marriages. I'd say 90% of marriages are with one man, one woman.
Yeah, but a lot of those marriages are also where someone's cheating or lying. Okay.
Well, that only happens
because they can't cheat in a marriage where you can bang other people. But
talking about those indirect open relationships.
Yeah, that's a fair point though. Like, that's why I tried to kind of get ahead of that and say, most people today aren't with the polyamory. But Damien, I dropped a link to one of the studies I've seen most commonly, and it just talks about partners, and I would use that as a perfect response to what Shan was saying, because as a guy, hundreds of times in my life, I've seen this, well, what if there's this rebranded message as don't do a cost benefit analysis when it comes to accepting women, because then all these women will now re-enter your pool of eligible candidates. And I just feel like it's been rebranded over and over and over again. But after listening to what Shan said, if you look at this chart, it's the first chart on the link that I posted. One of the best studies on sexual partners, because there aren't too many of them out there. It says that marriages in which the woman has only had one partner in her life, and that's the man she marries, and she's a virgin bride, they have a 80.47% success rate. If she's not a virgin bride, but she still only had sex with that man, meaning it was before they married, that drops to 69%. One other partner drops to 53.63%. And this is a success rate out of the first 10 years of the marriage. The next four other partners, those are 43, 39, 41% success rate. 6 through 10 partners is 28%. 11 through 15% is 29.61%, which is odd. I think that might have to do with the divorce law. And then 16 to 20 partners is 17.8% success rate, and then 21 plus is 20.41%.
So this was women's sexual partners. This wasn't just men and women.
Virgin bride. So yeah.
And what are we basing success off of?
Not getting the divorce
after 10 years. The 10 years is the period that they used in this one. And again, this isn't an end all be all. Like, even with the virgin bride, 20% of those marriages failed. I think there's a lot that goes into that too. But what I'm saying is, I would, like, if my brothers were getting this advice, I would say, yes, there are always exceptions to the rule. And if a woman's amazing and she comes into your life and you have enough experience with women to realize that, yes, my friends are telling me this and they see this red flag in her, but that might not be the case because of the way she's responded to her trauma, and it's 1 in a million, then sure, you can take the shot. But I would make sure they're aware of these numbers first. I'm not saying these numbers are end all be all. The more partners, the more screwed you are. But know that if they have a lot of partners, they are the exception to the rule, even though they'll try and convince you that they're the rule.
You know what I'd want to know with it? I just gotta let me just jump in real quick, Shannon. I just would like to know what was the man in the relationship. What is their what was their responsibility in the breakup? Because, you know, this goes back into a lot of things. A lot of dudes, and I heard this back in the day, if you know your woman has been with 20 people, all right, 20, let's just use that as a nice round number. It lowers your rate that you are the best dick she ever had. And that can fuck with a dude's mind. You know, it could be like, okay, if she's had sex with 3 people, you top 3 on motherfuckers that done fucked her, you know? If you has 20, you know, what is, you know, does that, does a lot of that plays into the dude's, fucks with a dude's head. Like, you know, if, you know, it could be if they got a little dick, if they've had less partners, whatever, that could fuck with the head, and then they cause issues in the relationship. Because I know women who smash a lot of dudes, and they got with a dude who smashed a lot of women, and they got, like you said, not you said, I know that's anecdotal, and you know, I know, but I just want to know, in those studies, what I don't think a lot of them identify is how much of it is the dude having an issue as opposed to the women having some kind of trauma, you know, because a lot of, like, when dudes talk about, oh my God, she fucked 50 dudes, just like you said, Diddy, if I'm living in San Francisco, she fucked 50 dudes, and we moved to San Diego, she fucked 1 dude, me, you know, that's kind of how it is.
I don't even like to invite that negativity into my mind, bro. Listen, here's the reality. Like, I ain't trying to be funny, but I've never worried about a woman and what dick she had in the past. I know what I'm capable of doing. So I walk in the room with confidence. I'm not tripping about no dick, because I know by the time you leave, you're gonna know you got fucked. Now that's how I feel. So I can care less about dicks in the past, dicks here. And I, you know what I'm saying? I don't understand. Like, nope, not being funny, that's little dick shit to me. Like, I'm not worried about no man's and nobody's dick. I can't even identify with that conversation in my mind.
But I'm wondering, I'm thinking you breaking it down just to the fucking aspect. I think what DA is saying about the long-term relationship aspects of it. It's not just that.
DA was saying, I respect what he's saying in the statistics, but can you imagine if those margins are correct? This sample size is crazy. You saying a woman, let's say a woman is 35 years old, and we talking, they said 17 mates, bro. That's 1 person a year out of 12 months. Like, these margins are damn near unlivable for a woman to even operate in with these numbers. You know what I'm saying? Just think about it, dang, 1 person an entire year per year for 17, and we go to 20%. Who's doing these stats? That's crazy. Like, that would mean that everything on Tinder is blowing it. Everything on Bumble, everything on Hinge ain't touching nothing but 1 a year. Bro, those numbers.
I mean, it might be hard for you to imagine, but you can't argue statistics with they're surprising. Because if they're surprising, that should be more of a reason for you to look at them and think about, like, what's so different from my lived experience that these statistics are such a surprise to me. So, for example, I would venture to guess that you, because these statistics are so surprising to you, you have a lot more than one partner a year. And that's kudos to you if you've been single, right? Okay. Also, that you probably have spent a lot of time single compared to being in a relationship. Because for these statistics to be a surprise, you need a lot of partners. And I would be surprised, you know, if you're like, I've been married for 20 years. No. Because then that would mean you're, you know, stepping out. So most people have been in relationships for several years at a time, right? So say one girl has only had 1 serious relationship. It was 5 years. She got married at 20, divorced at 30, 5 years gone, lost her virginity at 18. That's 7 years left. So, like, there's just more that goes into this than these statistics are surprising. They can't be true because, I mean, they're shocking, but that doesn't mean to dismiss them because they're shocking. I mean, they're not what I would have wanted to see. You don't think guys would have loved to believe that, like, a woman could have 100 partners and that would have zero effect on her ability to pair bond? You could just go to Las Vegas, pick out a stripper and marry her if you wanted to and have the best sex of your life forever.
Like, well, that occupation is a little bit different. Like, and I know Maria.
But why strippers? Are you saying that strippers are hoes?
I was just playing. I was just playing stereotypes. But I mean, I would venture to guess that there's some kind of correlation. You have to be kind of athletic to be a stripper. You have to be flexible. You have to sell the dream of sex without giving it to somebody, which I would hope that you'd know how to do it. But maybe there is a virgin stripper out there, and I'm just all wrong. You know, maybe half the strippers in Vegas are virgins and just good at dancing. I wouldn't put my money on it.
Let me just say something, because I was also a dancer for many years.
Mhm.
Most dancers are not promiscuous. Okay. A lot of dancers don't even like men. They're gay. You know, but they realize the power that they have as a woman. They realize the power that they possess by owning a pussy, and that men just don't give a fuck at the end of the day.
Well, I mean,
Well,
fair point. Go ahead.
Let me get China. China been trying to jump in there. China, go ahead and say what you want to say.
Okay, so earlier we had statistics as well. You said women who had 2 or fewer had the same rate as 10 and more, correct?
Yeah.
I think
Don,
that
can you pull up
goes
the chart if
into.
possible?
It wasn't
I
a
think
chart.
that
It was just a
goes-
study. Hold on.
Yeah, I think that goes
Yeah, it's the
into
first
the whole
picture.
experience thing. So what if these women, what if the divorce rates are higher because the women have more experience and their standards are higher? What if they say, I know what's out there, so I'm not dealing with this, I'm gone. Versus a woman who has only been with 1 or 2 partners, and that's what she's comfortable with, that's what she knows, and that's where she wants to stay, because she does not have experience outside of that. So a lot more goes into the statistics than just sex.
Well, yeah, and that's the best
That's how I
argument against
feel.
it I've heard all night. And my response to that would be, you know, have you ever heard that women rate 80% of men on dating apps as unattractive or below average in attractiveness, and men rate 50% of women as below average in attractiveness? That's like compiled Match, OkCupid, Tinder statistics. And what that tells you is that women believe they have a shot at and or access to the top 20 to 15% of men, no matter where they're at. They might be average, they might be below average, but they, because of social media, to the biggest extent ever, average women have had access to men that are 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000, 1 in a million. Say an average girl gets a taste of a 6'3", 6'6" athlete, celebrity,
Set your
someone
standards
with
high, shoe high.
exactly.
See if you can get it. Why
So
not?
what does it do? What does it do? See, you don't see anything wrong with that until you run the numbers. What does it do to her chance at getting married? If she says, "Oh wow, that was great," you know, I think he has feelings for me. I have a shot at him. Okay, he stopped texting me back, but I think I could get. I've had a 6'6" guy before. That's my new standard. I'm only going to go with 6'6" plus. He drove a Rolls Royce. I'll take a guy who can drive at least an Escalade.
Well, if
What does that do to our chances of getting married?
Let her answer, man.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
If you're swiping left or right in the hopes of finding marriage, that's where the issue is. People who are swiping left or right are just most likely looking for a hookup. And if I'm not attracted to you, why even step out and add you to the count?
Maybe on Tinder, but what you're doing is you're denigrating everyone using dating apps instead of actually answering the question.
Well, you said swipe. You were saying swipe.
Go ahead, Maria. Go ahead.
Okay, as somebody that has dated a millionaire, somebody in the top 1%, 10%, somebody that's dated a wrestler in the WWE, I'll tell you one thing. My standards for men doesn't matter what they look like. I've been on dating apps. I've been on dates. I've been with several dates with other guys, but it doesn't do anything to your marriage mind. It really doesn't, because the value has to come from within. When you are a woman that you realize your value and you know that you can make that $1 million too, it doesn't do anything to you, okay? I don't have to date a millionaire in order to be like, oh, you know what, that's my new standard. No, my new standard is like, go get that fucking million so you could be your own damn sugar daddy, girl. That is my standard, and it doesn't do anything to you. And if I'm on a dating app, it's probably because I want to go and I want to meet people. Now, the person that I end up with doesn't have to be a millionaire. It doesn't do anything to you. To some women that don't got shit, it might do something to them. It might make them act brand new, whatever you want, and then they might escalate their new belief system because that's just, they feel like they're valuable now, and that's great. That's perfectly great. I don't think that it does anything to you unless you don't have that self-worth inside of you.
All right, Maria, let me break it down in a simple way, because I know what DA is trying to say, because I've said the same thing in a less analytical way. Is all right. let's start. Brosia, okay, you're an attractive woman. Would you agree?
She knows
All right.
it.
So if you grew up in, let's just say, a small town in Kentucky, where it was just one of those situations where you grew up there, the guys that you saw that you were attracted to were maybe on the football team. They were a little in shape, but nobody was really doing a whole lot. They knew that when they graduated, they were going to probably be the manager at like the mechanic shop. He was going to be the manager. You were going to probably be a school teacher or a stay-at-home mom and what have you. And that was going to be your life. And you were completely content with that. But then social media comes. You start posting pictures of you by the pool. A German billionaire sees your picture on social media and says, you are the one. I'm going to fly you to Germany. I'm going to spoil you. And then not only that, other athletes, celebrities, actors, all these people who you so didn't have access to prior to you putting these pictures on social media are just inundated with you. Do you think that raises your level of, okay, what you feel like you deserve? Like, you know what? Yeah, I could date the guy who's the chief mechanic over at Pep Boys, and he's handsome and stuff like that. And I like him. He's nice, but I have access to the bag. I have access to a dream. I have these millionaires and billionaires trying to holler at me, flying me out. And it's happening so consistently that would you start thinking, well, that's what I should be going at because that's my value. My value is higher than the night manager at Pet Boys. It's a billionaire. Do you think that would change the way you thought about what you should have access to?
No, because I've lived that. My husband has been, and not a mechanic shop, but the manager here, and I post this picture and this guy with a check is in my inbox talking like this. It don't make me like, oh, I'm gonna leave my husband. It's like, wow, I'm flattered, but no, I'm not just gonna run off into the next man's arm because he got a bag. Like Maria was saying, it's about what's within, and if I'm happy here and we're compatible together spiritually and physically and all that, then why am I gonna like venture out because this man got a bag? I could get my own bag.
Right. So do you think that do you think that's a common way of thinking? Do you think that if you talk to 10 of your homegirls, would they say the same thing? I'm not talking about ones that are in marriage. I'm talking about women who are single.
So single women. I mean, in this generation, it's like, the city girls got women like, go get his bag, So I think that, statistically, if I sat down with 10 women, probably half of them would say what I just said, and the other half would say, oh, I'm gonna go get that man in Germany, that baller and all that shit. So, I mean, 50-50, I guess.
Yeah, I think you're being real generous. I think if 10 single women had the choice between dating a handsome dude local dude and doing that international shit with a billionaire, at least 8 or 9 of them would be on that. They'd be on the PJ.
I mean, it depends on what you're looking for too. It depends on what you're looking for, because not every woman is looking for someone to hold her down financially. Not every woman is moved by that. Like, I remember being a dancer, you guys, I met Shaquille O'Neal and he tried to holler. And I declined because I was just like,
he wasn't even, I'm talking about not a married dude. I don't mean trying to be a side chick. I mean a dude that's really trying to fuck with you. I don't mean just trying to have fun with you. I mean, this dude is like, hey, I think you the one. I'm a billionaire. I'm gonna fly you out.
When you meet a guy, I mean, I know, like when I used to meet guys, I didn't automatically feel like, oh, he just wants to fuck me. Like, of course you feel like, okay, he could just want to do that, but I'm great. He might actually fall in love with me and want to do this thing for the long haul, but I'm not going to be moved just because of his social status or how much money he has or whatever. And I wish men would stop thinking that. I mean, it's probably never going to happen, but men need to stop thinking that all of their value is attached to how much money they have. Like, some of us actually really care about how big your dick is and how good it works. Like,
for one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because look, women, we can get things done to we can get things done to make it tighter, smaller, whatever. But for men, to have something done is taking a huge risk. So it would be nice if you just came with a package, okay?
Yeah, so I don't know. I find it hard to believe. I'm gonna ask Amy. So Amy gonna jump in here. Not you personally. Okay, let's just ask if you had 10 female friends. I'm talking about not you now, not the upstanding group of people that you might associate yourself with now. I'm talking about the 22-year-old Amy and her crew. 10 female friends. Are you, if you had the good-looking dude who is just doing nothing, who's like just living a regular life. I'm not saying he's doing nothing. He's just living a regular life, or the rich dude who you can have all these fantastical experiences with. Do you think more often than not, most women would pick the rich dude or the average dude, or be the local dude?
I think it depends. I don't know.
See, women don't want to be a buck. They don't want to keep it a buck because they don't want to perpetuate the stereotype.
I've always picked average guys only because
honestly, women want the whole package. Like
you can't have it all sometimes.
They do. And that's
I'm
I
not
think
settling. I'm not
I think we
settling, so
stumbled stumbled upon a stark difference between men and women. Like guys in here, like, is there anything that you say my wife has to be better than the women in my past, at least in this one thing? Because okay, you're married, so maybe this is, we can't talk about it, but like I don't think there really is anything.
My wife knows what's up. She probably watching. What's up, baby?
Most women, like, I think that women are more likely to draw that line because they can, because women on average have more options than men do, like even average women receive more messages on dating apps and in their DMs than some of the best looking men. And because of that, they have exposure to millionaires, to men that are it's not just all about money, to men that are super ambitious, super athletic, super good looking. And because of that, they can say things like, okay, I've dealt with 2 millionaires before. I'm going to draw the line at 500K, But I don't see men doing that in many departments. Like, you're not going to see a man saying, I at least need a girl that gives this good a head. Like, they just want someone who's open-minded and coachable, and they don't mind teaching them the rest.
Go ahead, Amy. You're about to jump up to the screen. What's up, Amy?
I was trying to explain, like, women do want it all. Like, okay, just because you have money, if there's no fucking going on, that's not, it's not going to work. Like, you can take me on trips, you can do all this shit, but if that's not
Nobody
right.
said he's not fucking you. That's what I'm saying. For some reason, they feel like there's got to be something like it. I'm talking about all things equal, same dick size, same what you call. Only difference between the two is the bank. Well, one might be a little bit more attractive. The plain guy may be a little bit attractive, but the other one has the bag.
I'm going where I'm more attractive. That's a big thing for me.
I mean,
okay.
You gotta roll over and look at this person if you're gonna be like in a relationship with them. So I don't give a shit how much money you have. Like, I don't know, man.
Some women would rather roll over on 1,700 thread count.
Damon, you mentioned the 22-year-olds. Obviously, the 22-year-olds are gonna go after the rich man because they're gonna be like, I want to be flown out. I'm young, YOLO. This pussy's not going to be enough for and obviously they're going to go for that kind of man whenever they're 22 because they have no frontal cortex developed. Duh. So they're just going to go and be dumb, and then they're going to be like, yeah, this guy literally just left me for someone younger when I'm 25. So they're going to obviously know their worth, and eventually they're going to move on. So yes, they're going to go for that kind of guy. Yes, because I've seen it in the strip club. The younger girls will get picked over by the guys and everything because they were younger, obviously, because Andrew Tate, they're more moldable, like
malleable.
Fucking creep.
Less stuck in their ways.
Yeah,
and men will have us think like, younger women
can't be bullshitted as much, right?
Go ahead, Shan.
No, I was gonna say, like, men will have us think like, a younger girl is just so much more beautiful. She's gonna be so much more successful. Not true at all. It's not about the beauty. It's about the fact that, like she said, the frontal cortex is not developed. You really don't know shit yet. You're still finding out. And it's just so much easier to mold her like that guy told me, you know, I want to get a virgin because, you know, with his little ass, I want to get a virgin because then I can mold her pussy to my dick. Like, bro, you're so lame. Like, you need to go grow an inch or two if you can and really see, you know, then that's when you'll find somebody that probably matches you. But
so does that work for women?
It is not all about the money. It's not about your social status. It's not about your looks. It's really about your personality. How much you've grown.
I gotta call Cap. Go ahead, Amy. Go ahead, Amy. I'm just gonna be calling Cap in my head.
So do men go for women for social status as well? Because like
yes,
like I'm a successful professional woman. Is that going to be
not your money, not financially?
If
yes, they do.
I'm just saying, I'm not down here. I do bring some shit to the table. So if I was single, would that be something that would be a part of a conversation piece?
Look what I'm saying. All right. Let me jump in. I know I see DA's mouth. Let me jump in here. It depends on the age. If you are 30 years old, we don't give a shit what you do if we have our own shit going on. I said this once in the last podcast. If Bill Gates pulled up to a woman working at McDonald's and she was bad, he would say, "Get your bad ass in this electric car." And he would not be like, "Oh, I can't fuck with her. She's working at McDonald's." He would not give a fuck because he's got his own. And the measure of a man historically is what you have built for yourself, not what you've collaborated with your woman to build. Let me see this again. It's what you have built alone, not what you and your woman have built together. Society doesn't historically measure men on the collaborative successes of a couple. Go ahead, Amy.
But this whole show was about how a woman's body count affects how he thinks about her. So if you don't give a shit about what she does for a living, who gives a shit what dick was in her before you?
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. Okay, like I said before, there's a lot of shit that's going on there. There's all this statistical stuff about, you know, trauma and pair bonding and ensuring paternity and all that kind of stuff. But I'm gonna cut through all that shit. Like I said before, dudes, the one thing they can increase their bank account, but they cannot increase their dick. If you don't have enough money or enough dick, you're gonna be insecure. That's just how men, our fucking heads roll. That's how we work. So if you are a big dick with little money, you good. If you have a lot of money with a little dick, you good. If you don't have if you got a little money with a little dick, you are fucked in the game. So basically what it is if you get with a woman who has 20, 30 bodies, the chances of you being the best, biggest dick she ever had significantly diminishes, and you have to possibly think about this motherfucker. She's done fucked with motherfuckers with bigger dicks who done put shit on her better than I can. That's what some motherfuckers who think, who have little dicks and who have low experience and stuff like that think. I mean, you ever had a dude tell you, "Damn, yo, your pussy's so tight"? He ain't saying your pussy's so tight. He's saying my dick is so big. That's what he's saying. It ain't got nothing to do with that. That's what he's saying.
Self-assurance.
It's self-assurance. It's like, damn, this pussy is tight because I have a huge dick and it is stretching this shit out. It ain't got nothing to do with that.
Y'all can't stretch shit out, okay?
Like I'm just saying. I'm not. I know biologically.
Nothing.
I was in the medical field. I know. I'm just saying what a man looks like.
I have a vagina. Y'all.
I know. I know.
Man, you gotta sell them the dream. Come on.
That's what I'm saying. It's the mental gymnastics dudes play with themselves. All I'm saying is just like that. That's what the dude's saying.
Too bad.
I mean, seriously.
I don't want no short man. Period.
Well, I'm saying, but that goes with it. It's just like that's why it's been, you know, there was all kind of other reasons back in, you know, sure, paternity, because back in the day, if a woman was promiscuous, you know, there was all these things that could happen if she had if she was promiscuous. Pregnancies, diseases and stuff. The pregnancies, stigma as far as being ostracized by the community and stuff like that. It was all these social constructs that checked or kept a woman in check back in the day. a lot of those have been eliminated, and now it's promoted. But now, so dudes have to deal with the fact that they may not be the best dick they woman have, and it fucks with a lot of them.
Well, listen, you guys. I'm in my 40s, no secret. And the relationship that I'm in now, okay, the best sex I've ever had in my life. So it's just a lot of misconceptions. Like I stated earlier, it's just a lot of misconceptions about sex for women, period.
And a lot of them are driven by women. Women, if you ask,
because they're trying to, because women typically are the gatekeepers for men. Women typically try to, cater to, men and all of this bullshit that men. That's why. Not that it's true.
You ever seen like a show or anything where they ask a woman, "Does size matter?" Look at the way they answer.
They're lying.
The women who the women who say yes say it with emphatically. Yeah, yes, yep. Fuck yeah, it matters. Women who say it doesn't, be like, no, I don't, not really. If it's a connection and he knows how to work it and blah blah blah. So it's just like men know what's up. We are not. We play dumb, but a lot of times we ain't dumb.
Devils.
It's just like
no cap over here, baby. No cap at all.
Oh yeah. She said she had always picked average guys. I said I had to call.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because what I'm looking for is somebody that I feel safe with, not somebody who can fly me around and then potentially tell me, oh, you know what? You're not smiling or laughing at my jokes, so bitch, I'm about to kick you to the curb. That's why I've always chosen this, because just because a man is average as far as how he looks and what he earns doesn't mean that his soul is average. And really, at the end of the day, that's what women want. We want somebody.
That's what older women want. That ain't what younger women want, because y'all ain't telling men that's better.
I wasn't young before. I was young before, and that's exactly.
I see Brosia. Let Brosia jump in here. What you got to say?
I was about to say what she said. Like,
hold on, Maria. Let Brosia talk real quick.
What? I'm muted.
I was talking.
Oh, she was talking to someone else.
It's not just older women. I've been like that for as long as I can remember. Like, a bag never impressed me. At my most brokest points in life, a bag has never impressed me. And I can say that. And Damien, like, I'll keep it real. You feel me? Like, I know, like, it's are we connecting here intellectually, spiritually, sexually, like physically? Like, that's what's important to me. Like, and granted, I'm not one of those women that are like, oh, I don't care about looks. I very much care about looks. You must be my type. I am one of those. I can't just go date somebody because you're funny, but I'm not physically attracted to you. Like, that's not a thing for me. But like, money is not a factor. Like,
I was gonna say to Shan, like, I'm glad you clarified the ways he can be average and you still accept him, because I was gonna say, what are the odds that in your 40 years, we'll say 20 years of sexual experience, the last one you got in the last couple of years happened to be your best ever? Like, that'd be luck, and that'd be great luck. Kudos to you, because a lot of women, a lot of women, they get their best.
I want to know how many women in their 40s have you slept with, because the fact is, most women, when they hit 35, that's when they really begin to enjoy sex. That's when shit goes through the roof. But you guys walking around here thinking that it's all about the young pussy or whatever. You'll never.
Brosia in China, like, oh yes,
hey. We're talking about.
Just wait, girls. Just wait.
You'll know what we mean.
Hey, I can't speak on that. I would say maybe I'm not gonna dox myself. We'll say 2. I'm not gonna. But like, and I'm 30, by the way. My name's David. If devil's advocate's a mouthful, but no, I appreciate you guys like actually speaking on life experience too, because a lot of people like to just hide behind statistics. But like, it's also interesting hearing about what you guys have gone through and whatnot. I just thought, I don't know, like when I see a woman who's above average in attractiveness, which, like everyone on this panel has options, obviously. It's hard to hear them say, oh yeah, I go for average guys. Cause like there are armies of 5'8", 5'10" accountants that would be great fathers to your children that would worship the ground you walked on, And that's what I think when I hear, I could go for average guys. But if you're talking about like, you look for a guy with a good heart, I think that women usually wait. I'm with Damien on that. Women usually wait to put that much weight on a good heart over something that's flashy, because that kind of stuff screams at you when you're younger.
So
and I'm speaking in generalities.
Somebody asked Primal Studies, he said, why would I sleep with a woman in her 40s? Why not? We're talking about sleeping with, not trying to start a family with, but
I sleep with a woman in her 40s every night, and it's amazing.
I would sleep with a woman in her 40s too.
So this guy asked, or what, Primal Studies, why would I sleep with a woman in her 40s? Why not? We're not talking about making a family. We're not talking about having babies. We're not talking about falling in love. We're talking about fucking. Why not?
I mean, don't sleep on women in their 40s. They've had multiple years to perfect their craft.
It's intimidation.
And they are very good.
These men need to stop. Y'all need to let the kitten in heels, Samuels, let the kitten go. Just let him go. Okay? Because look at how he transitioned.
Come on, we're not gonna do that. We ain't gonna talk. We ain't gonna shit on the dead.
I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm speaking facts. Let that shit go, though. Let that whole mindset go.
I think what happens a lot of times, cats who get like get a bag, and then all of a sudden they start like.
Yeah, you can sleep with women in their 20s and 30s, but you're gonna probably have to pay them too.
Yeah, let me finish. It's like I think what happens is these are the cats who wasn't getting the 20-year-old pussy when they were 20 years old. That's what happened, and now they have access to the 20-year-old pussy, so they're gonna take advantage of it. And the reason that they can is because the 20-year-olds want the bag in most cases.
Right? Okay, makes sense.
So the reason why any billionaire can go to sleep with 1,000,000 22-year-olds is because no matter how they look. Jeff Bezos is not an attractive man. Bill Gates is not an attractive man, but he could have 1,000-woman orgy with just him if he wanted to, because he got the bag.
And they'll have his kids too. Yeah.
They will absolutely have his kids. They will be begging to have his kids.
Nick Cannon don't look good either, and he's just
and that's what I'm saying.
They're popping him out.
And that's what I'm saying. It's just like when it comes down to it, it's like I feel like a lot of these cats, because dudes who've been fucking since they've been fucking like young. I know I ain't worried about like all the bullshit. People are like, oh, you're older, you got money now. What you call it? My wife is the shit, and it's just like I could give a fuck about 20-year-old pussy. It's just like one of those things. Like unless my wife wanted 20-year-old pussy, then it'd be something different. Then that's a whole different conversation.
Okay.
But
Diddy, where you at?
Diddy said his piece. He was like, I don't give a fuck about what these niggas talking about. What's going on, Diddy?
Diddy say he ain't judging nobody. Bitches and niggas can do what they want.
That's right. That's right.
He's waiting for you, Diddy? Oh, you on the phone? Okay, he on the phone. All right, but yeah, it's just like that's the real deal. It's just like dudes are either if you don't have enough money or enough dick, you always insecure about something.
Exactly.
And that's just the way that is your life. That is, you can tell motherfuckers who don't have either one because they walk around in a certain way. They always walk around looking like a certain way. They don't stand up tall enough. They don't speak out. They don't say it with their chest.
And, I think the people who like the men who care so much about a woman's body count are the insecure ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, like women, like I was watching this cat, I was watching Plies, and he was talking about he had this homegirl that was like, we're about to get all this shit done. I'm about to get my titties done. I'm about to get like BBL. I'm about to do all this shit. And he was like, why? So you can catch an ugly nigga with money? It's like, because the only person who give a shit about any of that shit is ugly motherfuckers with money because they didn't have access to pretty chicks when they was younger.
Facts.
Like, ain't nobody else worried about perfection. Stretch marks, I'm all over that, What you call it? Tagging titties? Give me that shit, I don't give,
Okay.
Give them to me. It's just...
Sling them over your shoulder.
Hold on. No. Let me clarify this. My wife ain't got either one of those things, so She probably, when I go to work, she's like, what?
You see a glass fly into the view and hit you in the head.
Exactly. I'm gonna hear somebody coming through the door and be like, look, you know, that's what's up. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
you're just saying men are still okay with natural bodies.
yeah,
right?
if it's one of those things where if it never was a thing for them long term, just like body count. If you are sitting there like, I don't give a fuck about, you know, body count because I've had all the fun in the world, I'm gonna enjoy the experience, and she provides me with this amazing experience. Who gives a fuck how she learned it? Like my wife can make lasagna with 6 different cheeses. I don't give a fuck about where she learned that shit. I'm just eating that shit like it's a mother for lunch, dinner, and breakfast. I don't give a fuck. You know, it's just like that's why I don't give a fuck. Like if she does something really well, I don't give a fuck where she learned it. I don't give a fuck who she was doing before. Now, don't get me wrong. I ain't having the motherfucker walk in my door and sit down and have a beer on my couch. You know, that's a whole different situation. But it's just like I'm not sitting up there like I'm not sitting up there worried about it all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I think like I said, dudes who I think realistically, dudes who, like I said, have issues with their performance seem to have fuck with it more than have issues with it more than anybody else. Go ahead. It's like Diddy was about to jump in. Let Diddy jump in. Were you about to jump in, Diddy? All right, DA.
Sorry, I didn't know if because I would say on the panel I seem to be the one concerned, so I feel like I'm being addressed here. I didn't think I'd agree with Ambrosia, but I do agree that in the manosphere you see a lot of. Is everyone familiar with the term incels?
No.
Does anyone not know what it is?
That means involuntarily celibate.
That's
Okay,
Andrew Tate.
Oh.
No, that's a common manosphere term. Just it's a term for men who are involuntarily celibate because it's pretty unique to men because most women can get dick whenever they want it if they really wanted to, but most men can't. And so, like, I would say that incels or men who are like damaged and just got out of a rough divorce or relationship, maybe they got cheated on, they're really likely to like vent. It's called a red pill rage phase where they just kind of like Maria was saying, she went through a phase after she was a stripper, when she was a stripper, where she hated men. That's kind of the male version of it, where you kind of hate women because you felt like one did you dirty, and you're very concerned with shaming women about their body count. But there, when I started working in corporate America, I mean, I would hear a lot of some married, some not, a lot of very high earning men talk about this, and while there are a lot of incels and a lot of men who can't get pussy, so they just use these statistics to like make themselves feel better about it, there are a lot of those guys out there. There are also men who are simply using them to mitigate risk. And there are men who look a lot better than me, that are a lot taller than me, with a lot more money, that are saying the same things. And all a woman has to do is convince them that those risks don't apply to her. And the rest she's set for life. Like, and I think it's really sad, the cultural clash that's going on, like with fatherlessness homes and all that. But I say be careful, because I will say Ambrosia's completely right with the incels that just use these statistics to bash women because they don't do well with women. But there still are men who know to mitigate risk. And I'm a very analytical person, and I sound very nerdy. But most people who see me, like they don't see that side of me. Like they see some guy in the gym that's mixed and 6'3" and played college sports and probably isn't very intelligent. That's their first impression of me, just because
I know that ain't him. He showed me a picture of his chick and she was bad. I mean, like bad.
Yeah. I doxed myself.
So I know that I know that ain't
you're
true.
You're the guy that I would always pick. You're the type. You're actually the type of guy that I would have always picked. Maybe one or two were bad, but no. Typically, that is the type of guy that I would have gone for.
Mm-hmm.
Typically.
And
I don't know why that's so hard to believe. I don't know why that's so hard to believe, but
I found it weird. Who I would connect with is really weird, because I wasn't all that in a bag of chips in college. I was track captain, and like I wasn't football running back. I wasn't, on the hockey team. We were a D1 hockey school. Like But I stayed in shape. I worked. I was economics major. So people would talk to me and they would be like, okay, let's talk sports. It's probably all he knows. And then I'd start talking about economics. And like I talk on this panel, like I get too analytical sometimes. Like I'm hard to put a finger on. I'd hang out with the business majors and the math nerds and the science nerds. So like,
Nothing
I don't know.
wrong.
I've just always been a numbers guy. So when I talk and all you hear are my views and you don't know what I look like or my background, it's easy to think that I blend in well with those guys that like use all these statistics that the women don't like. But at the end of the day, I did my senior thesis on the gender wage gap, and that led me to a lot of videos about the risks of the family court system and building a family in 2022. One of the first videos I saw was a divorce lawyer, a male divorce lawyer of like 20 years, and no, it wasn't the lead attorney, who had gotten his children ripped away from him merely off an accusation because his wife met a lawyer who knew that all she had to do was accuse him of something and there's no investigation. The children are removed and then they investigate. And he was crying, for 20 minutes about what had happened to him. And even though he was eventually acquitted, he spent 3 years without his kids who were turned against him. So I'm like, okay, here I was thinking that all I had to do was be successful and good looking to get a good woman. Here's this successful, rich divorce attorney making $300K a year who just got his children torn away from him. So there's something that I don't know that I need to be aware of. And that didn't like turn me into who I am, but that was a data point, that made me more, more cautious, I guess you could say. So
go ahead, buddy.
Sorry to go off on that rant, but that was just kind of a response to Ambrosia. It's not just all guys who can't get girls, but it was me seeing a guy who should have no problem getting women that had everything taken from him. And I was humble in the fact that, like, on paper, I'm not as good as a 20-year lawyer. So, like, what am I missing here?
Well, I never just chop up anything I say to all. Like, I'll never be like, all women are like this, all men are like that. But when I even said it, it's just like, the ones that are insecure are those ones. Like, so I agree with what you were saying also.
So, and I just want to address the chat. I've known Shannon for a while. That is not cap. She always liked the smart motherfuckers. So y'all can kick rock with the blue cap. She don't want a dumb motherfucker.
Thank you, because I definitely had access to the. Oh my God.
Yeah. We know. I mean, everybody says 40-plus-year-old Shannon looks amazing, but we all got to see the 20-something-year-old Shannon, so it was something to behold. It still is, but we all got to see it in its 20-year-old something glory. So
everything is still intact.
Hey, Shannon got 40+ looking like the new 21. Like,
fine,
for real.
Fine out here, and my ladies you guys are phenomenal. All of y'all are beautiful. Amy, Ambrosia, China, Maria, my girl Jazz that's not here, all phenomenal, beautiful women.
Thank you.
That always makes for better content when all the women are attractive and the men are handsome. We're some good-looking gentlemen, I must say. I say DA, Diddy,
absolutely.
That's how it goes. So.
But somebody did primal studies. He did bring up a good point too. He talked about STDs. I don't think that we really touched on that one. And that is very important because when it comes to body count, like Amy was saying earlier, it's not even a conversation that I've ever had, even in my 20s, 30s. It's not a conversation that I've had, how many women have you been with? My thing has always been, are you healthy? Okay. If you've been with, because you can literally sleep with 2 people and contract something that you can never get rid of, right? But then you have people out there who have slept with hundreds of people and they've never had anything. So for me, it would be, are you healthy? Are you healthy enough to have a sexual relationship? You know what I'm saying? That will eventually turn into a relationship, a serious relationship, or a sexual relationship where we're not using protection. Are you a good candidate for that?
Yeah, I think that's the only time like past sexual encounter should matter when you're gonna move forward with having unprotected sex with somebody, or even like religious purposes, because some men for religious purposes want a virgin, but like otherwise I don't think we should be talking about what I've done prior to you.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah.
Hey, Amy, I want to ask you a question. So unmute yourself.
Okay.
So you and Jerry have never had that conversation as far as like how many you just never had the conversation. It's never entered in the what you call it, and
No.
that,
We were in our 40s when we were dating, and the conversation came up, right away. Like, if we're together, I'm not doing this with nobody else. Like, maybe just because of our age, like I'm not gonna do this with you and go, that's the only conversation we had. We never talked about, but we both know we've been married before. Like, we're in our 40s. Like, obviously I'm not a virgin. I got kids that, but it wasn't a conversation. Like, as long as he wasn't smashing nobody else and smashing me, then I was good.
yeah. I mean, it's funny because like I've had the conversation, but it wasn't like a how many. It was just it was kind of like a how many, but it was more like a jokey kind of tongue in cheek kind of how many and blah blah blah. It's never been a so before I decide whether or not you're worthy of being my long-term partner, how many people have you slept? But it was never that. It was just kind of curiosity. And the reason it came up because she knew the circles I used to hang with, and Shannon knows the circles I used to run with. So we know that things were like pretty wild back in them days. So and so she it was kind of just an overall, how much did you partake in the shit in the shits that happened at the loft,
Yeah, we didn't heard a couple of stories at the Fight Club.
The loft.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, I know.
I wanted to add to that because that ties into what Maria said earlier about the power that women possess, and I feel like we haven't hit on, since we're talking about long-term relationships, the sacrifice and I think it's deserved power that wives get in women worthy of long-term relationships. Because, like, for example, my grandma, okay, so my mom was a single mom, but my grandma was like the closest to me, like, example of this power was when she had 9 kids. She was full-blooded Mexican, so big Mexican family. She's a great cook, like just your classical grandma born in 1930, 1940s. And it didn't matter how successful her kids were. It didn't matter. We had like well-respected members of the community. When we would all get together as a family, when she spoke, you shut up. And that's because of the sacrifice she made for the family. And it was just as important as my grandfather. He owned a construction business and was a mailman. So, like, I think our generation puts happiness over duty. And that was a sacrifice that I saw my grandmother make that I would say my mom didn't make to as much of an extent. I don't know the stuff that went on between her and my grandfather, but I know that a lot of people in her generation went through a lot of shit and sacrificed a lot for their kids. And that's a lot more than our generation can say, because both men and women are willing to just leave in pursuit of happiness instead of duty to their children. So I think that's one of many precious things that we've lost. And I think that men and women, but as a guy, I can only speak for men. Like, we should really, even though we seem desperate in the amount of women that we talk to, or like, the amount of women that we approach compared to past generations, we need to really be careful with who we give that honor to. Because, like, if you don't think it's an honor to choose a woman to raise your kids, then you haven't invested enough in yourself. And I'm sure the same goes for women. But again, I'm speaking as a man. Like, I think that's something that our generation's lost, because my grandma just passed away a year ago, and just seeing everyone that wouldn't be there without her and her sacrifice, like, kind of put things in perspective for me as to like what we lost over all these years and all these changes going on through our generation. So I'd say that power is way deeper than any kind of attractiveness or having a pussy, especially.
having a pussy is important. No, I'm just kidding.
It is very powerful. I'll say that, but
okay.
You're taking away from the. No,
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. That was great, but that was well said, man. That was real well said. All right, so this has been great. If anybody has anything they feel like they haven't said, because I'm about to break into something real quick. Anybody has anything that they want to say that they feel like they didn't get a chance to say, they wish they had said it, they're responding to anything that somebody said previously. Anybody got anything that's still on their mind? I want to make sure everybody felt like they were heard and got a chance to, like, speak their piece. All right, because I want to get into story time. All right, everybody ready for story time? It's story time. Let me find some good story time. Let's find some good story time music, okay? I'll tell a story. This is a story of this motherfucker right here. Young prince of the city, thought he was the shit. Thought his shit didn't stink, thought he was the fucking man, But little do know, people know that he was actually kind of shy, just got out of a long relationship, so his game was a little off. And then one day his homeboy said, you know what, come to my boy's party. Shannon, my boy named Dre, was having a party. And they would say, you should come. I was like, oh man, I ain't trying to go to no party or whatever like that. I'm just gonna go home. It was after the club. I'd already been drunk. And she was like, just come. So I go to this party, and at Dre's house, they have pseudo celebrities, local celebrities, D-list celebrities. You might find the occasional rapper, NBA player, singer or whatever. So it was a good time. I'm there, I'm feeling out of my element. All the women are really chasing after the rappers and the ballers and shit like that. So I decided to sit on the couch and have a little drink. And as I'm sitting on the couch, I just see this vision walking through the crowd looking like that. And I'm like, who the fuck is this chick? She looked like somebody Prince would fuck with. So I'm thinking she bad and motherfucker. So she comes down and she sits down next to me. I'm still trying to play it cool because, I'm still, I don't want to seem like I'm like shy and nervous or whatever. And I can remember the first thing this beautiful woman ever said to me, the first words out of her mouth that changed my fucking life was, how do you know Dre? Those are the first things the woman who would be my wife, mother, my children ever said to me. How do you know Dre? I explained how I know Dre and what have you. So we chopped it up for the 3 hours or whatever like that. And then we just started calling each other, talking on the phone, dating. I was like, you bad. I'm taking you into Vegas. It's going down. Took her to Vegas, had an amazing time. I was trying to do it big in Vegas. And then something happened that always tended to happen. Her ex got wind that she was dating me, and he put on the hardcore press. Baby, I miss you. I realize you the woman for me. I want to marry you. It's going to be me and you against the world. So she gets all like he fucks with her head. She comes to my house and upset, like, I just got off my ex. I'm all confused. So I'm like, you know what? I don't want no issues. I don't want no trauma. I just got us some bullshit. So let's just go our separate ways. Of course, we smashed one more time because I'm just that type of dude, And then she went about her ways, and I thought that was the end of that chapter. 4 years later, I get asked on a date by this nurse who wants me to go to lunch with her, and she wanted me to go to this Cuban restaurant that's by her job. So I'm like, yeah, she was cute enough, but wasn't really feeling her. I thought, she's just going to be another woman that I add to the body count, kind of situation. And she takes me to this restaurant, and we sit down, we order, and then I look over the other side of the restaurant, and then I see Amber sitting there on a date with another dude. I see this woman sitting on a date with another dude. And I'm like, she bad in the motherfucker. So I was like, I am not going to fuck my chance up to get back with this. So I hollered at her. I still had her email. reached out to her. Turns out she worked 6 blocks from where I worked and lived about a half mile from where I lived. I'm like, this is meant to be. I went, asked her to lunch. Went to lunch. She still looked amazing. And I was just like, it was all good. No real fireworks, but she still looked amazing. And I drove her back to her car, and somebody had broken into her car. And, I stepped up and it was like, I got you. I know a boy who does, insurance claims, so he can get you hooked up with the windows. We just call this, they're out there. And I just kind of just took control. And she was like, she told me later on, she would tell me that's the minute she knew I was the dude for her, when I jumped in and just handled everything for her. And all she had to do was sit back. And I knew that, she gave me this hug, and I was like, you know what, this could be something. I had a birthday party to go to. I had actually asked another woman to come to this birthday party with me. That was my date. So I called the other woman, was like, hey, I'm gonna have to cancel on you. Took her. And we've been together ever since, rocking and rolling, doing our thing. And I just want to celebrate this woman right here. Kim, look at that. That's the woman who has had 3 of my babies right there. She's just an amazing, dope ass woman who just holds me down. She provides me everything that I need. She provides me with counsel, peace, and sensuality, sexuality, and she's just an amazing, dope ass woman. So I just want to say happy anniversary to my wife, Amber. I love you. I'm looking forward to many more years of us doing this thing. And that's all. I hope that wasn't too long and drawn out and people didn't keep you on board, but I had to do it.
No, it was beautiful. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. That was beautiful.
So
that was great.
So happy.
I'm like about to shed a tear, like seriously.
Yeah.
I've known Amber for years, and she is a really sweet girl. She's really sweet. I love Amber, and I'm happy for you guys.
Yeah. She the one. She the one. That's what's up. And yeah. So now it goes to the part where I just thank all of y'all for just coming through and showing love or what have you. Y'all were fucking amazing. It's just I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. I want to start off with my man Diddy. Diddy was on the phone. He
my man, bro. It was just listen.
You gotta handle the.
Listen, DA was hitting us with the stats, bro. I was just like, these stats is. I'm be like, who are these people quantifying these numbers? and DA, ironically, bro, I'm an econ major too from Ohio State, bro. So I get it.
Nice.
I get it. But like I said, you definitely left some things to ponder on. I'm like, damn, that's true. I'm like, whoa. But as all in China, Ambrosia, nice to meet you guys. Marie, y'all always on Amy. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. But thanks again, Dan, for the invite, man. Thank you for having me.
I gotta give a shout out to my brother, my analytical, insightful, pragmatic brother, DA, Devil's Advocate. I just want to give you hitting us with the facts, data, and statistics. That's what I knew you would do, and that's why I wanted you to be on here, because everybody's going to talk about these anecdotal things, but I wanted some real data behind this shit. I knew people was going to give you pushback on it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love it though. I love it, man.
Loved it.
So I just appreciate you. And now I got to give a special shout out to the Gigi? What was it again? Unmute yourself. What was it again?
Mimi
to the Mimi. Miss Amy Johnson. And shout out to a special guest, Mr. West was in the building. We loved him. He was so super cute. So I want to give a shout out to that to you and Jordan and that's for Jordan and West. And you know what? What is Jordan's husband's name?
His name is Eli.
Eli. Shout out to Eli too. All right. And Maria. You are my girl, my dog. I really appreciate you coming. Your energy is just so amazing. We just love having you on there. You just super dope. You know, and a special shout out. I'm gonna do them at the same time, but they're just amazing. The Creating Anarchy ladies are just super dope. And for the people that's watching the shop, two things. Number one, if you haven't liked and subscribed, me and you got real beef, and I'm gonna find you. But you need to like and subscribe on your way out. But you need to carve out some time tomorrow at 8:00 and go to their Instagram live. It is Creating Anarchy, and you need to like and subscribe their YouTube channel because everything that they put on Instagram Live, they put it on the YouTube channel. So if you saw Alexis Morgan demonstrating the perfect position to make a dude come in 2 seconds, if you missed it on the live, you'll see it on the replay on their YouTube channel. They are just super dope ladies, and I think we are lucky because they are going to go so far. They're going to be like, yeah, I remember I did this one back in the day. I forget the name of that cat show, because they are on a rocket ship, and they are just going to take the fuck off. They are going to be doing big things, and y'all going to be able to say you got to rock with them when they were brand new into this shit. But because they are doing some fucking amazing things. I love working with them. Anytime they need me on the show, I am there for them. They've heard some of the wild stories, so
no, we
it's all
appreciate
good.
you.
We appreciate it.
Be careful sharing that information, man.
China. I mean, seriously, DA, you need to be watching. You need to be on their live tomorrow. I'm telling you, you're not
We're gonna have some suburban white women making niggas fall off the bed. I don't know about that.
It's not always like that though. Like we get deep too. We get into
they have some real. It's not all. I might be oversimplifying. It's not all dick and pussy. They've talked about like abuse in relationships. They've talked about, and they do stuff like if they talk about abuse, they'll give hotlines to like abuse hotlines or suicide. They'll give hotlines to that. They're not just about dick and pussy. Is a lot of that, believe me. But it's about it's educational, and they're trying to help. They're really trying to create something, a safe space for people to talk about all aspects of all things sexuality. So you really should be checking them out.
They can drink. They can.
And they can. Oh my god! And they can drink. They take shots in between subjects. These women will drink you under the table. They are seriously. Don't try to go shot for shot them. You will be fucked up. You will miss work the next day. I promise you.
Trust me, you will miss work.
I mean, seriously, these guys are just amazing. So, like I said, I'll give you another. That was amazing.
Thank you.
And to my PIC, my partner in crime, the person who's been rocking with me, the person I've known for many, many years, the person who has been like a straight, like amazing co-host for what been rocking with me since day one. I'm gonna give my girl Miss Shannon and I'm gushing like a motherfucker because we might be losing Miss Shannon as a regular contributor only because her work schedule has switched up and she may not be able to make it to all of the shows. She'll try to make it to one she can, but they switched up on her, and she Tuesday she will not be available as she has been. But I'm gonna plan something to where we're gonna do like some reaction videos, or we're gonna do something because we gotta keep rocking with this thing because you're just a dope partner to have in this thing. So I really just appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. So next week we'll let you know, if any guys have any ideas of shows you want to see or something we could put together, or ideas, put it in the comments, put it in the chat. And I want to thank all the people who came through and showed some chat love, the Great Pill Podcast, Primal Studies. Who else we got here? Sharon, I know my man. All the other people that came through and showed some love. I really appreciate y'all rocking with us. So once again, thank you. We'll be back same time next week. And with that, we are out.